Hello, everyone. So for those of you who are here, I would actually ask you at the very beginning to unmute yourself. So unmute yourself and put the camera on, at least for the beginning. So I get to see you guys. I get to see you exist. So a big request to you all. So just unmute yourself, loves, and show me your face. Hey, everyone. Hi. I know this is not very common to ask you to be actually loud on those calls, but I like that. Well, thank you so much for being here. So, okay, we have a couple of people joining, so just adding people in. So let's give it a couple of moments. And for all of the new people joining, I was just requesting, at least for the beginning, if you could unmute yourself and show us your face so we can see you're a real human being, which is, I would say, very needed and helpful and beautiful in our times. Lovely. Okay. So if you have any more people coming in, I'm just going to let them in, but I would love to get right into this because for those of you who have done any work with me before, I love teaching, I love talking, I love sharing. So I have a bad tendency of going long and I'm really making an effort. Today it's going to be 1 hour. Okay, this is my intention for today. Okay. So welcome everyone. Welcome so much. So my name is Magda and I'll speak a little bit about myself, but I'm really more curious about you. So if you guys can post in the chat, you're probably, familiar with the Zoom protocol. So where are you guys currently located? I'd love to know this. I'd love to know where you guys live. And if this is not your country, then let me know also where you're originally from. So where you are right now, where are you located? And then, okay. We have Switzerland. Oh, lovely. What else do we have? We have Netherlands. Sweet. Who else do we have? Berlin. Okay, lovely. We have New York. Nice. So I'm currently in Poland. And I am Polish, so I'm home. In transition, but in Tennessee right now. Lovely. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, we have someone joining, so just waiting for them. Okay. Oof. My loves, thank you so much for being here. So today we're going to talk about the female mind. In a way, it's like I'm going to do a brain search. I'm going to open my brain, open my heart, and I'm going to let you in and reveal some really interesting secrets. Now, specifically, what I will be sharing with you today are 5 insights about women, about the female psyche, the female body. Okay. And these are really powerful things because we don't really talk about them. Like there's some things you've probably heard here and there. And if you guys are here, I'm just assuming that you have been interested in understanding women already for a while, But what I'll be sharing about, like what I'll be talking about today, these 5 things, I honestly don't see people talk about this. So you're going to get specific insights and understanding of why women do things that we do. Because look, very often, we want or we think one thing and we do the opposite. We say the opposite. So I get it that it can be super confusing to you. So I'm going to give you more understanding why we do that, what it's all about and how to react. Because ultimately, when you understand your woman better or any woman in your life, that's also your mother, your daughter, your sister, any other women you're friends with or that you work with. So the more you understand them, you get to have better relationships. Like for the women that you really care about, I know how important it is for you to make them happy and keep them happy. But also it's for you, like you get in return when she's radiant, when she's happy, you receive this energy. So that's the intention. And I'm also seeing we have Andrew from UK. Hey, Andrew. It's good to almost see you again. So like I said, my intention is to keep this call for 1 hour and I'll do my best but I just so often like end up going to Q&A and adding more information that goes beyond the scope of my classes. But I do want to honor your time. So again, the intention is 1 hour. One little question information for you. This call is being recorded because I will be offering the replay of this session for 48 hours. If you guys want to watch it again, if you can't stay until the end, and for anyone else who simply couldn't be here live. Now, you guys know we're spread all over the world and there is no possibility to cover all time zones. So we have people in Asia and in Australia that for them, it's the middle of the night, so they don't get to be here. So in consideration of these people, this is being recorded. This will be offered for 48 hours. So I just want you to know this and hope that you're feeling okay with this. I do not share it anywhere else apart from that. So once again, thank you so much for being here. And I know some of you, like I've seen you guys in other classes, so you probably are familiar with me. And for others, I may be a very new face. So just literally 2 sentences, because I never like talking about myself in these classes. I'm Magda K. I'm from Poland. So if you wonder about my accent, I mean, I'm Polish. I lived in the US, in Belfast, in Ireland. I lived in Italy, Malaysia, Thailand. Now I'm in Bali. So I have a combination of weird accents. So that's why I sound the way I do. And I am an intimacy expert. I am a relationship coach and a Tantra teacher. And I work with men predominantly. I also work with women and couples. And really what I do is, I come from the Western world. I used to work for really big corporations like Procter & Gamble and Luxottica. And then I moved to Asia and I dove into the world of sacred sexuality and Tantra. And so I got to experience these 2 worlds. And I also got to experience how much these worlds almost fight and compete. And so what I'm really passionate about is blending these 2 realities. So I take the concepts from Tantra, from sacred sexuality, from energy work, and I introduce it to people who have more of a Western mindset, meaning people who have a job, they care about money, they have goals, their ambition, and they live in big cities. So, they have a bit of a different reality. So that's kind of what I do. And specifically with men, I've been working with men 7 years, I think. And I do lots of work with men around tantric sexuality for men, so non-ejaculation. I have an online course and I do one-on-one work with people. So I introduce men to these techniques. I do lots of coaching on relationships, including open relationships. Now I'm sharing all of this because maybe it's a little surprising for you. Why is a woman teaching anything to men? And that's also one of my intentions, to show you what it's like to be in a space and in a container that is held by a woman. I personally, I'm just seeing someone from Malaysia and Singapore. Thank you for being here. I know this is not the best time zone for you. And by the way, I used to live in Malaysia. I lived in Kuala Lumpur for almost 4 years. So lovely to see you coming from there. So like I said, there is a beauty in men teaching women and women teaching men. And I love this. Like I have experienced so much from my male teachers. Like I've been open to become multi-orgasmic through my male tantric lovers, my male teachers, and my male friends. And I love also being able to reciprocate and give back. So I give back in a different way than a male teacher would. I really hope that you're going to enjoy this. There's going to be a lot of juicy information for you. And one thing, so now I will ask you guys, or I'm going to do this myself. I will ask you to stay muted from now, just so we don't have different background noises. But I want you to know one thing. At any given time, you guys can raise your hand. There is, if you guys are not familiar, at the bottom of your video, there is a little emoji icon with reactions. And when you click on this, you can raise hand. So right now I'm raising the hand and you can see this. When you do this, I see it on my screen and I know that you want to ask something or share something. And once you've done it, go back and press on lower hand. Okay. So if you ever want to say anything, if you have any questions while we're going through these different topics, you are more than welcome. Okay. So this can be as interactive as we want this to be. It's not like I have a specific flow and you cannot, say anything. But of course, at the very end, we're also going to have space for Q&A if anything comes up. Okay. So How about we get into this, huh? Are you guys ready? Show me the hands. Show me the hands up if you guys are ready to jump right into this. Lovely. So how many of you are familiar with David Data, the author David Data? And again, show me hands up for those of you who have heard of David Data. Okay, lovely. So David Data, he's a really good teacher, okay? So I remember many years ago, I was studying his online training, Enlightened Sex. And of course, I came across a really good book, The Way of the Superior Man. And again, hands up, just show me here who read The Way of the Superior Man. Okay, so I honestly think it's a great book. I think every man and every woman totally should read this. Like these should be the books in our, curriculum at school. I really think that. So I read it many years ago, and not long ago, I was like, you know what? I want to reread it. I want to reread it because I remember after studying his things, I felt very in my feminine, and it kind of opened me to flirt even more. I was like, I want to read this again. So I did. And there was the sentence for men. So it's directed at you. And what he wrote in his book is this, that when a woman talks, don't worry about understanding what she's saying. Like, don't try to understand it. Just listen to her voice as if you were listening to music. And I'm reading this as a woman, and all I'm thinking is like, what the fuck is that? Now, there is a difference between understanding that a woman, that the feminine is different than you, and this whole idea of a woman being a mystery. There's something that just like, they're so different than you, that maybe it's hard to comprehend. There is a difference between that and patronizing the feminine or women as, well, they don't make sense. They're too chaotic. They're too emotional. So don't even try. And I know this is one of the really big issues for men. When we start talking, it's kind of difficult for you to pay attention and stay focused on what is it that we're actually trying to communicate. Who here had this experience? And like, you're really trying hard, but you're just like, oh my God, she's just saying too many things. Exactly. Now I'll speak about this one more. That's one of those 5 insights I'll be giving you. It's about us talking, what it's all about, and how to deal with this. But so when I read something like this, that oh, don't pay attention to what she says. No, I do want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. And if I talk too much, and if it's presented in a way that you don't understand, I want you to let me know so I can adjust and I can learn to communicate to you. But I don't want you to like look at me and literally just zone out. If I am saying something, I want to be listened to. And so that kind of started a lot of things for me. I did quite a few posts about this whole idea, how, we really should stop calling the feminine a mystery, because a mystery is something that you just don't understand. Like Chinese language is mystery to me, right? By the way, Lim, I wonder, you're probably Chinese, right? So for you, Lim, I'm pretty sure like Chinese is not a mystery, but maybe Polish is a mystery to you guys, right? But why is it a mystery? Because you don't know it. You've never studied this. You don't understand it. For me, Polish language is not a mystery. Just like for me, women are not a mystery. I don't look at other women thinking, oh, wait, I don't understand what you mean. Why do you speak so much? Well, why are you so emotional? Why do you change so much? I don't ask myself these questions because I understand it. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I know it's like really very romantic saying that the feminine, that women are mysterious, right? And this is true. Like we can be very intriguing and surprising and different, right? But we don't have to be mystery. Like we can be beautiful, we can be radiant, we can be charming, and you can still understand us. I honestly would say that the highest expression of loving someone is making an effort to understand them, and understand them on so many levels. Like what makes you tick, what makes you feel aroused, what makes you turn off, what are your wounds, what are your desires, what are your fears, what are your needs, right? Understanding the person you love. Because love is a feeling, but love is also an act. It's also a behavior. And if you want to show someone that you really love them, make an effort to understand them. Because way too often we just assume. And either we assume something about the partner. And by the way, I'm pretty sure you guys have experienced this the other way as well. Women assuming things about you. And you're like, that's not what I meant, right? How often you guys get misunderstood, right? So we either like make assumptions of what the other person thinks or wants, or we just kind of assume that we're not going to understand it, so I'm not even going to bother. And again, this is a deeper expression of this frustration, but it also happens very often that if you're trying to build this good relationship with a woman and like you do your best and like in return, like you're being like she's getting angry at you and she's pulling away and you're like, what the heck? Like, what did I do wrong this time? Men end up pulling away because if you cannot make her happy, at least you don't want to trigger her. Just as much as you love being in her space when she's radiant, being around a woman who's angry, it's horrible. Like it feels horrible in your body. So you're just like, I don't want to deal with her. But we can change all of this simply by understanding how women work. And like I said, I'm pretty sure you guys have experienced this the other way around, right? When like, you know, you feel like she's just not listening to you. Like you express something and it's like, she's not hearing you, right? Or you do something, you say something and she misunderstands it. Or even more when you do something for her, right? Like you literally do something for her, but she thinks that it's against her. Have you guys had such a situation? Again, raise your hand. When you're doing something for her, she understands it the total opposite way. So you understand how horrible it feels to be misunderstood, right? There's nothing pleasant about that. So I like, you know, with the work that I do, I love working with men and women. And I honestly, you know, promote so deeply and believe that we need to be supporting each other. Like we've done a lot of work, but we're still freaking fighting one another. It's a constant, you know, fight. Who's better, women or men? Who's going to put someone down? It's like, it's ridiculous, but it's happening. It is still happening. So I want to say, as a woman, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing your part, you know, because it takes both men and women making an effort to understand each other to change those dynamics. So you guys are doing your part by being here. And honestly, thank you. I so deeply appreciate it. Because again, as a woman, I know very well what it's like being like interacting with men who don't do this work, who don't want to make an effort. I'm talking about my former lovers. I'm even talking about my father. I'm even talking about looking at my brother and his wife. You know, as a woman, we know very well what it's like when a man doesn't want to make an effort to understand us. And truth is, most of women feel unseen, unheard, simply unhappy. So I want to give you the specific insights into our psyche, into our body, so you can change it with minimum effort. Okay? Like it's about understanding us a bit better. And once you do, you don't have to engage all of this energy to understand what is this mysterious creature. I totally do not get what she's saying or doing. Oh, now it's going to be like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. I know what it is. I know how to react. Okay? So that this is the intention. That's what we're going to do. And I have 5 insights, 5 tips for you. Okay. So are you guys ready for number 1? Oh, we have just someone joining. So let me add them. Let me just add someone before we go into tip number 1. It's Vedansh. He's still joining. Okay. Hi, I hope I'm saying it right. Vedansh, welcome. So we just had an introduction and we talked a little bit about different pain of not being understood by women. And I am about to go into 5 very specific insights about the female psyche, female body. So you just joined in time because I'm about to jump into point number 1. And the point number 1 is about her talking. It's the one that feels like, oh, she's saying so much. What is it all about? So I want to give you a few insights into this, okay? Now, first of all, the tip for you is, okay, so I'm phrasing these 5 insights into recommendation for you into tips. So the tip number 1 is encourage her to talk. So maybe if you ever felt a bit overwhelmed by her talking, you were just like, oh, I wish she just stopped. I'm actually telling you to encourage her to talk, but let me explain why, okay? Now, again, it's probably your experience that for 5 words that you say, she has 5 minutes of talking, right? Like the ratio is pretty interesting, but it happens for a reason. Okay. So what happens when we talk is we produce estrogen, both men and women. Now, for you as a man, actually extra estrogen stresses you out. It basically creates lack of balance in your hormonal system in your body. So you do not feel good. So especially when you're feeling stressed or when you're feeling anxious, when something worries you, the best thing you can do is to be quiet, to stay in your space and just be, okay? Like this is not the time to start talking to other people and expressing your emotions, because that's gonna push you more into the feminine energy, which is more out of the masculine, and it's gonna make it even more heavy for you. Like you as a man, you have your own way of dealing with challenges, okay? And so you wanna stay in the masculine energy, have your hormones balanced so you can tackle the challenge. For women, it's the opposite. We need this extra estrogen to actually balance our hormones and feel calm. So we want the extra estrogen, and we can, kind of boost it in different ways. But talking is one of the ways that helps women balance our hormones. This is why when we are stressed, we start talking. So just as much as you have almost like physiological need, it's like an instinct to stay quiet, right? To just be in your space, go within, like just disconnect, go into your cave. We have the same instinct to talk. So first thing is understand it helps us release stress. Now, in any case, talking releases energy. Like, I'm doing this masterclass now. I'll be talking a lot. I will feel tired after that. Okay. If you guys ever did any presentations, if you led any workshops, you know what I'm talking about. Talking uses energy. Okay. So if we have too much energy as women, right? And that's usually what happens. Like there's just too much energy that got accumulated. Talking is another way for us to release the excess energy. Otherwise, it's going to boil inside of our body. Okay. Another reason why we talk so much, okay, and this is the opposite to you. So you first think, right? If someone asks you a question, you need time. So you need to pause because you're processing the thoughts, and only when you find the thought, you speak. We find our thought through talking. It's much easier for me to understand what I think by talking about it. So for example, I have a practice, me and my best girlfriend, we have this agreement that we can send to each other like 10-minute audios of something that happened or something that I'm, thinking and contemplating. Because when I get to speak about it, I am anchoring it in my body and I'm actually processing it. So I get to understand it. So very often when I tell her what I'm thinking, what's happening, I get insights. So it's almost like a meditation, like a vocal meditation. And that's opposite to you, right? Because for you, probably it's easier. And again, raise your hand. Is it easier for you to process things first in your head before you talk? Okay. Does anyone feel like you would rather speak to understand what you think? Okay. So, and look, it's not like it's black and white in no way, but it's just a tendency. And this is based actually on physiology of our brain. The female and male brain are actually different. So without getting into all of the details, but actually when you're still in the womb, okay, with like for boys and girls, the brain is flooded with different chemicals. And your two hemispheres are actually more separated. For a woman, they're closer. This is also why women can multitask more and you guys are single focused. So there's an actual physiological difference between boys and girls. And so that's also how it shows up. So now what does it mean? If you know that talking for her helps her calm down, release stress, release excess energy, and understand what she thinks, right? If you don't give her space to talk, she's like boiling, and there's no release. And that's when she can blow up. And again, you've probably experienced a woman blowing up and it doesn't feel so good. So if you encourage her to talk, You're helping her understand things. You're helping her process things and let them go. So how do you encourage her to talk? By asking questions, okay? Ask her questions. So if you see something happening, don't like go into telling her what to do. Don't assume. Like, she can, in many cases, get to the solution on her own, but she first needs to talk through this. So ask her questions like, okay, so what happened? Okay, and then, so what did she say? Oh, and how did you feel when that happened? So what do you think? Or you can even ask her, so what do you think you want to do now? Like, you can ask all of these questions. Almost imagine you're like a coach, right? A coach asks open questions. Coach doesn't give answers. It inspires the person to find the answers on their own. And when a woman has the space to talk about things and she releases the excess stress and energy, she can move into the problem solving phase. What happens, why women are so upset about the advice, is that it happens too fast. She first needs to process this, she needs to let it go, and then she is able to speak more like a man in a more logical way. But if you try to get her there right away, she's going to be angry at you because that's not what she needs. It's a little bit, for you guys to understand, like a metaphor of that. Let's say when you get home and, you're just coming back from, I don't know, you were either with your friends doing something or you were at work, and you get home and she's right over on you saying, hey, take out the trash, do this, or fix the computer. And you're like, oh my God, wait, I just entered home. Let me first like shift, let me like land here in this place, and then I'll be available. So it's the same for a woman. We need this transition period, and it may take a while, but we need this before we can start thinking of something logically, okay? So that's the first one. Yes, we talk a lot. There is a reason for it, and encourage us to do it. Now, I do want to say one thing. If you guys have this conversation, right, and at the end of this, you're like, what the heck did she just say? Please be very mindful that if you ever start switching off because she talks too much, you are literally risking a relationship. For a woman, okay, if she ever leaves you, it's because she's been communicating something to you and you were not listening to her. And I know from a man's perspective, you're like, goodness, you keep talking all the time. I don't know what to take seriously. Like, it's hard for me to pick the important things when there's all of these words and all of these sentences, right? But as a woman, if a woman is unhappy, she will always say this. She will always communicate that some of her needs are not met. But we kind of lose each other in different styles of communication. So what you can do is, after the conversation, right? If you're not really sure, what do you need to remember from that conversation? What does all of it mean to you? Just ask her to summarize it for you. Or say, hey, babe, so I just want to make sure that I understood you correctly. Can you give me 5 short bullet points that you want me to take away from this conversation? Or can you summarize in 1-2 sentences max? Okay, because then I just explain it to her. You operate differently. To make sure that you didn't miss anything important, you needed to be very concise. So can she say it in like 2 sentences, 5 bullet points, 3 bullet points, the most important thing you want me to know? Okay, so that she also learns how you communicate. Because remember, it's about both of us doing the work, right? So listen to her, encourage her to talk, right? But then again, at the end, make sure that whatever she needs you to know, because she doesn't need you to remember everything from the conversation, but whatever is important, she communicates and you can register. And if you're still not sure, you can repeat it. So let me make sure I'm understanding you. That's what I heard you say. Is that correct? This is a beautiful way of communicating to make sure we're not making any assumptions. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, are you guys ready? Show me the hands if you're ready for number 2. Lovely. Now, guys, this is very important. This is so important. Number 2 is reconfirm that you love her, and keep doing this over and over again. Look, all of us have wounds, okay? All of us are terrified of being abandoned, of being exiled, of being not worthy of love. But for women, it's a deeper wound because we live in times where for generations, a woman, first of all, needed a man to survive, right? Like getting a husband was the most important thing for so long. And we still kind of live in times when this is quite true, to be honest. But secondly, also, women were put down, women were abused. You know, it's like a woman didn't have a say. It was okay for a man to cheat, but if she cheats, she's going to be killed. So we come from a very different conditioning that makes our wound in the heart a little more complex. And secondly, also for a woman, and this is what David Data says actually, and it is true, you as a man, you need to live your mission. You need to be using, like you need to be aware of why you are here in this life. There needs to be a higher reason for that. And you need to be following that mission. If you don't have a mission, if you're confused about your mission, you feel pretty miserable as a man. For a woman, that ultimate goal in life is a relationship. A woman, like we long to be in a relationship, we long to be loved. Now, the fact that many of us push it away and we keep saying we don't need a man, it's just the wounding. It's a defense mechanism because these women are not happy. So we really want you to love us and take care of us. And we are terrified that you may not. We are terrified that you can leave us. And because women are very sensitive, we are very, very sensitive. Anytime you pull away, even by 5%, we feel that. Okay, we feel that. So if you're with me and you're 100% with me, and something happens, whether it's an argument or maybe you noticed another like really sexy woman and you look at her, and so you're taking some of your energy away from me, I feel this, and that triggers my fear that, oh my God, you don't love me anymore. You're gonna leave me. And of course, depending on every woman's wounds, this can be a very intense reaction or it can be subtle. But you have to understand that if you look at like really crazy women, you know, when we look at certain women and we're just like, Jesus Christ, she's really chaotic. She's all over the place. She's like a psycho. This is what happens to a woman who's unloved. And all of these psycho women, if you look at their relationship, you will see that their man does not love them. We feel this. And when we feel that, we start reacting. We stop being able to be ourselves, the adult, beautiful, radiant woman, and we react like a child, which means we're throwing tantrums, we're yelling, we're trying to manipulate you because we are pushed to like it triggers our survival mechanism. So we're gonna do whatever we can. We're gonna put you down, or we're gonna try to lie to you, whatever, but we're gonna play manipulation to lock you so you don't leave us. And this is when we turn really nasty. So what does it mean? If a woman can react so deeply when she feels you're not there, and she can create stories, if you, for example, if you're busy at work and you didn't give her attention the whole day, and she may need this, right? What it means to you is simply to give her confirmation that you love her. And this doesn't have to be big. Like from your end, the act can be really small, but it has huge impact on her. So how can it look? So for example, this is one of the things I give all of the couples I work with. So very often when there is an argument, a woman needs to be held and feel that you love her and she wants to connect, and you just want to go out. You want to be on your own to calm down, right? Like the last thing you want to do right now is to embrace her and do anything. So now she needs closeness while you are pulling away, which triggers her fear. Oh my God, you don't love me anymore. You are pulling away from me. So what is the simple thing you can do? You can simply tell her, darling, I love you. I need to take some space for myself so I can come back to you. So you're not disappearing and stepping away and leaving her wondering if you're ever going to come back, because that's what her wounded psyche starts thinking. You're telling her, I love you. I need my time so I can come back to you. It's that easy. Okay. Another way how you can express it. If she's messaging you or she called you and you really do not have time to engage, right? If you just ignore her messages, she may feel rejected. A very simple thing, just message, hey babe, I see your message. I cannot respond right now. I will later when I can be fully present with you. Okay. And this is, by the way, something I also use it with clients and anyone else. It's like if someone messages me and I know that I don't really have the energy or creativity, whatever, to reply, I always say, hey, I got your message. I'll get back to you when I can be fully present with your message. So you're communicating that you really want to be with her, but you don't just want to, respond when you're not fully available for her, that she is special and she deserves your full presence. Another little thing, if you guys are in public, right, and there are other people, and especially if there is other men, other women, and she may feel a little unsure, claim her in public, embrace her, hold her hand, kiss her. She feels, okay, he is showing all of these women around that I am his. So he's confirming he loves me. I can calm down. So it's the little things that you can do, okay? Little things that help her know that you love her. Because I know, for you guys, right, you can go into work and you can be so engaged in work for like 8 hours and you literally don't think about her, but it doesn't mean you don't love her. For us as women, if we are in love, no matter what we do, we cannot always think about you. Again, that depends on the wounding and the attachment style, but pretty much we can hold these different activities at the same time. So you can even have a reminder in your phone, like every 2 hours or every 3 hours, whatever is the need of your woman, right? It goes over, okay, let me just send a little message, and maybe you just send an emoji, a little kiss, to her, a little message. That's it. But it shows her, oh, he's thinking of me. Meaning, oh, okay, so he didn't pull away. He didn't just forget about me. So it's about the little confirmation. And like I said, especially in terms of arguments, this is super important, because what happens most of the times that I see and I've experienced myself is when you guys argue, right? You just don't want to be around her, because again, being around the feminine that's pissed off, it's really unpleasant for you. So you want to go out, but then she gets even more angry and you're just like, for fuck's sake, leave me alone, right? You have the power to move her out of this state within seconds. What you can do now, again, it depends how angry you are, right? The first thing I said is, if you really need your time, but just communicate, babes, I love you. I need my time. So this is not end. So I can come back to you. But if you're not feeling really triggered and it's more of she's getting upset over something, but to you, it's no big deal, right? You can de-armor her. Now, what does it mean? You come to her, you embrace her, and you can say, I love you when you're angry. Or you're like, gosh, you're so sexy. So you're kind of breaking her pattern. It's called pattern interrupt. It's actually a sales technique or marketing technique. So you want to shock her, like paradigm shift. You want to shock her in the moment to snap her out of the old pattern of behavior. For me, I have to tell you, my brother is a genius with that. He does this to his wife, and he did it to me when we were younger and living together. Anytime I was upset, he had the ability to just kind of turn it into a joke. Now, he wasn't making fun of me. Please do not do that. But say just something, light and something funny, and reconfirm that you love her. And she may resist you, okay? She may resist you, but don't give in. Don't give in to this. Hold her and bring her towards yourself, knowing that she's just reacting, she's testing you, but all she really wants is for you to embrace her. Okay. So this is in moments. Remember, anytime she reacts to you, anytime she's upset or angry, it's because she feels you don't love her, or because she fears that you will stop. Okay. So really all you need to do is just confirm, I do love you. I'm not going away. I'm here. And you'll see that she will immediately come back to you. So that was number 2. You guys ready for number 3? Show me the hands. Yes. Okay. So this is a small one. Ask her about her feelings rather than her thoughts. So instead of saying, hey, what do you think about this? Ask her, how are you feeling about this? Instead of asking her, hey, what did you do today? Ask her, how was your day? If she met with a friend and you want to have a conversation when she's back, instead of saying, hey, so what did you guys do? Ask her, how was it? Reason being is that for you, men, it's way easier to access your thoughts. It's more difficult to access your emotions. For us women, like I said about the talking, right? It's way easier to access our emotions. It's a bit more difficult to access our thoughts. The feminine feels, she moves. The masculine is the logical mind. So again, if you want her to really enjoy sharing with you what happened during her day, right? About things that happen. If you really want her to feel in her feminine, okay, so then you can really feel her in this feminine radiance. And if you want her to feel like calm, then allow her to express and talk about her emotions and feelings rather than thoughts. If you ask her, what do you think about something? She's activating her logical brain and she's activating her masculine energy. Now, again, it's not to say don't ever ask her what she thinks about something, okay? Because we have the brain and yes, we can use it, but just be mindful that maybe first you can ask her about, how are you feeling about this? And then you can ask her, so what did you do? And what did you do next? But start with emotions. And it takes me back to point number 1, right? Like I told you, first, ask her questions and let her talk before she can move into the problem solving phase, which is the logical thinking and not feeling. So that was a short one. Number 4. Okay, my loves, this is a big one. And even though people talk about this, they never explain in details why it's so. You have to understand that for a woman, sex is a very vulnerable place. Now, I'm actually going to explain to you why. There is a huge difference between men and women in this case. Okay. Now, you may have like, experienced this before. Like, why is it that she needs all of this foreplay? Why does it have to take so long? Why is she not in the mood? Like, you came home and now she like needs all of these weird things from you. It's like, what the heck is it all about? And also, like, if you like find another woman attractive, or if you want to sleep with someone else, she's overreacting. Like, why is she making sex such a big deal? Okay. So when it comes to female and male body, there are, apart from obvious differences, the energy flows differently. Now, are you guys familiar with chakras? Show me your hands if you're familiar with the chakra system, the 7 main chakras. Okay. So contrary to the popular belief, it's not your sacral second chakra that's connected to sex. This is connected to pleasure and romance. Sex is actually at the level of your root chakra. Okay, sex as the act, as the animalistic act and desire, this primal instinctual desire that we have. Now look at your body. You have your cock. A woman has a vagina, which shows you how the energy flows through our body. For you, the energy goes outwards. For us, the energy goes in. And that actually moves through the body, again, in a specific way. So what does it mean? Think of it. If I have, for example, a glass of water and one of you says, I'm thirsty, I can give this to you. It is not a sensitive or vulnerable place for me at all. I give away from myself. So I'm not exposed to getting hurt. It's the person who receives that can get hurt. Imagine you taking this glass of water from me. You don't know, this could be a poison, right? So anytime you're in the receptive state, you are exposing yourself to potentially getting hurt. Another way to look at it is, let's say you're inviting friends over to your house. Now you need to open the door for the people to come in, right? So to let the positive thing in, you need to open the door. Now, the moment you open the door A thief can come in, some stray dog can come in and like destroy your furniture. Even the dust can blow in, you know, with the wind, right? So there's always a chance of something else coming in, or some bees or flies coming in, things that we don't want, right? So when I open to receive what I want, I am at the same time opening for any possible bad things that can come in. There's no way to filter. There is no way any one of us can open up and only open to the good without making space for the bad to come in as well. And you guys know what I'm talking about. When you open your heart for love, you're also opening your heart for the potential heartbreak, right? Anytime you, let's say you received a new job opportunity, right? You're opening yourself for something new, but you know you could fail because you don't have yet the skills for this new position. You need to learn things. Now, this may be a great opportunity, more money, but this can also be a big failure if you don't meet the new standards. So again, anytime we open up, it puts us in a vulnerable state. So now, if you're the one at the level of sex that gives the energy, so this is the yang, masculine polarity, you're not in a vulnerable state, not at this level, but a woman is. And I actually teach it very often to women with trying to explain to them that expecting a man, expecting you to just talk about your emotions like that on the spot is the same as a woman being penetrated without any foreplay. Just like you don't just drop into emotions, right? Like if someone just asks you, hey, what do you feel? Or when a woman is like, do you love me? And you're like, this is a bit fast. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe, right? Like you probably don't feel good when a woman pushes you to suddenly be emotional. You need first certain conditions. You need to feel good with a woman. You need to slow down to be actually able to, you know, find those emotions inside of you. You need to feel safe. You need to feel like you have time, that you're not pressed, you're not pushed, right? You need certain things to open up. So a woman needs certain things to open up sexually. So for example, if I want to speak about opening the door for my friends, so what do we do to minimize the negative things or people that could come in? So I don't just go and open the door to my house and leave it open for like an hour so people can just come in. No, what do I do? The door is closed and someone rings the bell. Okay, then I can look through the little, no idea what it's called in English, but the little thing. I'm looking through the door to see who it is. Okay, I see who it is, so I can open. So a woman asking you for all of these different things, and whether it's dinner before, whether she wants you to pay for this dinner, the foreplay, if she's asking you for candles and things like this, it's not her being difficult. It's her basically looking through the little hole through the door to make sure it's okay to open this. And so everything you do in your relationship with a woman basically always sends information to her, whether it's safe to open sexually or not. Okay. Now, for women who just go into sex like this, because we know women like this as well, usually actually they're disconnected from their sexuality, which is probably not something that you would think. So we can be disconnected from sexuality in two ways: by being too shy, you know, being a virgin when we really don't need to be, like really needing too much to have sex, like making it like, you know, just shying away from this, or by being too easygoing about it. Both of these mean that you don't actually understand what sex is. So if you have a woman who's very easy about sleeping with people, probably there's something in her body she's not looking at. Again, nothing is black and white. We have different stories and we're all individual, but in general, okay? So you want a woman, of course, who's in between, right? Who has a pretty healthy relationship with her sexuality. And it still will mean that she needs things from you to feel safe to open up. And this will always be the case, okay? Even if you've been together for many, many years, because her sex center is open. And you can see a vagina goes inside of her body. So she always receives you. So if you're in a bad mood, if you're a bit angry, if you pulled a little bit away, right? She's like, hey, I'm not sure if I can open the door for this person. If she if someone rings the bell and she looks through it and she's like, oh, I'm not sure if this is really my friend. Like they kind of look like my friend, but maybe they're not. Or who is the other person that they're with? So now she's like, we're wondering, should I open the door or not? And it's the same with her sex center. She's like, should I really open it for you or not? If you did something that made her question if she's actually safe. Okay, so remember, sex is a huge deal for us because of our energy blueprint, because of our wiring on the energy level. Okay, again, it is a huge deal for a woman to be penetrated. And by the way, something I do tell men, if you want to understand how vulnerable it is for a woman to have sex, go get an anal massage or just be penetrated with a dildo, with another man, in whatever way. Because when you're being sexually penetrated into your root chakra, this is when you can actually understand what it means for a woman every single time to receive you. And again, just think about it. Would you just receive something into your ass just like that? Or would you need a bit time to warm up and open and relax? That is literally how it feels for a woman, okay? So that is number 4, super important. Okay. Are you guys ready for the last one? Show me, yeah. So I'm curious, has that been your experience that like your woman says something and then she changes her mind? And it's like, she says she wants it, then she doesn't. Like you were doing something like 2 weeks ago, it was fine. Now you're doing it and she doesn't like it. Let's say she wanted you to squeeze her breast very hard and now she's like, don't touch me. What are you doing? And you're just like, woman, you're inconsistent. Have you experienced this? Show me the hands if you've experienced that. Now show me the hands if that felt a bit annoying. That kind of like, I just don't get this. Okay. So here's the thing. Women move in cycles. And this is something that unfortunately, with the current society, women are even just not fully understanding. Like we are being forced to move in a linear way, which is how you guys move, even though our body is physiologically designed to move in cycles. So we have this like friction inside of our bodies because we're trying, as women, we're trying to ignore what the body is doing to keep moving in a linear way, but it will never work. It will never work because it's not how our body operates. Now, what does it mean moving in cycles? Of course, it's dictated for women by the menstrual cycle. And ideally, that cycle would be synced with the moon cycle, which is hardly ever synced with the moon cycle, which also shows you just how off women are in their movements. But there are cycles. We move in cycles. So let me explain a little bit how these phases look like. So again, and let's assume that she is aligned with the moon because actually the moon has the same energies than her menstrual cycle. So let's start with the ovulation, which the moon would be the full moon at this time. So this is the peak. This is the peak of something. Like this is the fullness, like a full moon. This is the fullness, right? So you arrived at the end of something. This is the peak, the highest point. So what happens as the next step? The next step after that is releasing, is contraction. If you look at the moon, you have the full moon and then it starts disappearing, right? It starts disappearing because once you're full, there's nowhere else you can go. That's the peak. So it's the same for a woman. When she's ovulating, she's at her peak and then she starts contracting. So when she's ovulating, she's super confident. She feels super empowered, fully embodied. She's just like, she can go out there and kill it, right? She's very confident. She's very sexual. And also her hormones change. So she has this different aura. But we all know that confidence is sexy. And that's when the woman is at her best. She's like, I can do whatever I want. I'm amazing. I'm powerful. This is when she really becomes the queen. And you feel that. You know, if you like ever find yourself like really attracted to women, chances are a lot of them are ovulating. That's why. But again, after ovulation comes the phase of now contracting. So what happens after ovulation, right? The body is slowly slowly getting ready to bleed. Because why? Well, if she's not pregnant, right, then the body is, you know, contracting around the egg to let it go. And this is the thing, it's letting go. So moving from ovulation to menstruation, so to bleeding, just like from the full moon to the new moon, this is the time when she lets go and releases things. Okay, so this is when she will need to be like, she'll be progressively going more within. She will not be as open. She will not be as open energetically or physically. She's not going to be so excited about trying new things. She's so like, okay, now I'm, you know, ready to recharge. I'm ready to go within. And when she ends up being in the bleeding phase, she's fully inside, and she should be within herself. Ideally, she would take those days off and be by herself or be with women. She wouldn't be working. She would not be working out. She wouldn't be stressing her body. But she's inside. She's contracting. Okay, it's like she's disappearing. Think of the new moon, right? We don't even see the new moon. It's all black. It's the darkest night, right, in the month. It's like you literally don't even see her. She's going within. And in this phase, she needs support. You know, don't ask her for anything. Don't ask her to do things. Don't like, you know, don't expect her to be the same as when she was ovulating. Because when she was ovulating, she was expending everything. The energy she would take, she's making it bigger. But when she's bleeding, she's small, she's contracted, she's inside. And in that phase, women naturally have a stronger connection to the spirit world. So if she follows her cycle, she can easily get insights. She can go very deep into meditation. So if she's sharing any wisdom with you in this time, listen, because it's not just her wisdom. Okay, it's a deeper wisdom at this point. So then after the bleeding, comes again, she starts opening up. So like you have the new moon, there's nothing, there's a void. And then we start seeing the moon grow. Now, all creation comes from the void, right? The void, or the distraction of everything, right? It's the beginning of the creation. So when there is nothing, when she bled fully, now she starts creating. So slowly, this is the time again of expanding, of opening up. So the time between the the new moon and full moon, or her bleeding towards the ovulation, this is the time for her to open up and try new projects, to start launching new things. But she shouldn't really be launching new things or starting anything new from ovulation to the bleeding. But from bleeding to ovulation, this is great time. Now, the cycles should be 28 days, just like the moon cycle. So you have 2 weeks when she's opening until ovulation and 2 weeks when she's contracting. Okay, so this is her movement. This is her movement. Now notice that all nature moves like this, meaning inhale, exhale, right? Inhale, exhale. Notice the flowers. Flowers bloom, open during the day. For the night, flowers close. During the day, they open, and then they close. So that's how a woman moves. Okay, that's how she moves. So what does it mean? Honor that when she's moving from the bleeding to ovulation, she's progressively getting more and more energy, more and more confidence, more and more creativity, more and more excitement. And then she'll be progressively letting all of it go. So she's going to be in a very different mood, closer to her bleeding than closer to her ovulation. Now, that also means while you, with anything, like for example, if you work out, right? Like this is a very interesting concept because I do CrossFit. So like any other, especially like heavy workouts, it's all based on the linear progress, right? So what does it mean? We're doing deadlifts today, let's say, and we're doing, I don't know, 5 deadlifts. So you cannot do your 100% strength. You're doing like, I don't know, 70%, right? So 70% of my full deadlift I'm doing today. Now in 3 days, we're going to do 80%. Next week, 90%, and in 2 weeks, 100%. Now for a man, you're going to go up, 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 and up. But me as a woman, I may suddenly, like in a week, instead of getting to my 100 and increasing the weight, I may suddenly be doing less. Why? Because if my cycle changed, I may not be at my strongest peak anymore. So I don't build my strength like this. I build it like this, I go back. And then I build it and I go back. And I build it and I go back. So you have to understand it's a bit like a wave, right? Like tides. If you look at the wave like goes over the beach, it kind of covers the beach, but then it moves back, right? It pulls back, and then again it moves forward, but then it moves back. And you have to remember that a woman will be moving back. And again, she may not be in tune with the cycle, which unfortunately a lot of women are not, but still the body will be desiring to do this. So if she's not allowing this retraction phase, she's fighting her body, which usually can cause serious hormonal issues, infertility, like inability to orgasm, etc. But this is the natural movement of the body, okay? Pulling back, I'm moving forward, then I'm taking a step back, and I relax, and I open, and I relax. Okay, so this is the number 5, the cyclical movement of women. So my loves, I want to ask if you guys have any questions regarding this. I have something else to share with you, but now that we cover these 5 insights, do you guys have any questions, any comments, or any feedback? And again, if you do, you can just raise your hand, okay? And I'll know that you want to share something or you want to ask something, and we can speak. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, Andrew, go ahead.
One of the biggest triggers at the moment is when I do something out of generosity and she's wondering or thinking that I'm doing it for some kind of ulterior motive, like I want something in return, like I want sex, like it's that kind of nice guy mentality, that what I'm doing isn't out of generosity and love, it's she has an expectation on what I'm doing.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I can. Okay. We were playing around with touch and exploring each other's bodies, and we hadn't set proper boundaries, so we hadn't set proper boundaries, which wasn't good. And like she was touching my nipples and my chest, and when I touched hers, like there was an immediate contraction, and that she just pulled away and then turned on her side. But then, you know, it was all right, we came back and reconnected, but then when she spoke into it, it was the expectation she felt was that she wanted something more. And it could possibly be, or definitely was, we didn't speak about boundaries beforehand.
Thank you for this story. So I'll say, first of all, it feels like she has also some healing to do around this, that things were taken from her and she doesn't have the strongest boundaries. So this is on her. On your end, what you can do, this is something, again, I recommend to the couples like who have this struggle. So if you guys are in this situation, you can all take advantage of this tip. So do things which are very clearly not leading to anything else. So for example, you can give her a massage and you tell her that, babes, I would like to give you a massage, right? And that's it. Like, this is not about going into sex. I'm gonna do this and then we will end. Okay. And you end it there, indeed. And then if she wants to reciprocate, you say, no, babes, not today, maybe another day. Now, why is it? Because as women, we are indeed conditioned that we need to give something in return. So this is the whole famous story of men buying us drinks in a club, and then we are, you know, expected to go home with them. So you have to show her that this is a different situation. So for example, imagine you're with a woman in a club and you come to her and say, hey, I just wanted to get you a drink because I think you're really pretty. You give her a drink and you walk away. Okay. So basically, what can be your form of walking away? So if we, for example, take this example, awesome English. So if we take this example of you giving her a massage, and then after the massage, she may feel very, very turned on and she may want to have sex with you. You can say, babes, I know you feel turned on, but I want to make sure that this is about you and you fully receiving. Okay. So why don't you take some rest and maybe just lie down for half an hour. And then if you still feel like having sex, we can have it. But for now, I would like you to integrate this experience so it feels like it's for you. Right? Because she may actually not realize that her now wanting to have sex with you or offer you something, that this is her maybe pattern, that this is her wiring, that it's not actually her deep desire. And so for that reason, my loves, if you ever do any of these practice of giving something to each other, it's really good not to do it on the same day. So let's say if you're practicing some tantric tools or anything else, and you both want to give each other massages, first, and it's always good for her to give you first the experience and then she will receive it. But if it's just you doing whatever, do it on separate days. Because if it happens right away, it's the same pattern. Oh, you give me a massage, but now I am giving you a massage. So it's the same pattern. So we need to change this. And if you are in a more committed relationship, you can also do something like, I don't know, Thursday is for her, Friday is for you, right? So then on this day or on this evening, she gets to receive, and it's all about her. So it's like if she wants breakfast, you make her breakfast, right? If it's she wants you to take her to the movies, you take her to the movies, as long as you can, fulfill those wishes, right? But she gets to experience for some time, whether it's a whole day or just the evening, or even just an hour, she gets to experience what it's like when she gets to ask for whatever she wants, and then it ends there. And if you want to play it the other way, you do it on a different day or next week, so there's like a significant break of time, and that will teach her body that, oh, okay, I get to just receive, that not all receiving, or not that you don't give me things just because you want something back, right? You literally, this thing ends here. So you need to be mindful, how can you end the experience? Again, think of all the different ways how you could take the metaphor, give a drink and walk away. In what way can you walk away? So she actually learns, oh wow, I really do not have to do anything. But this is a very big conditioning for women, because again, that's how it's been for centuries, and we literally drank it, genetically from our mom's body, with her milk, being in her womb, we got this conditioning. So this is really big for women. Yeah, thank you for this question. Johan, do you have a question, or would you like to comment on this one?
Thank you. I do have a question. So not related to this one, but a separate one. Thank you first for the 5 tips. That was very good. Especially the last one was interesting to me. Anyway, the thing I would like to ask you about is a bit off topic, but I'm sure you have some wise words anyway. So I just want to ask you, can you say something about what happens when you do psychedelics, more precisely ayahuasca, with a partner, and you obviously forge these stronger ties and have increased accessibility to each other's inner world and system. What happens afterwards when you've had incredible experiences enhanced by psychedelics?
Do you mean sexual experiences?
Yes. So first, inner journeys on an ayahuasca retreat, and then continuing for a couple of days afterwards, only smoking joints and having a good time in another place.
So if I may just ask another question. So I'm assuming you did this. So did something happen afterwards that just didn't feel good? Was a phase after the experience that something was happening that you guys struggled with?
No, on the contrary, it's been ecstasy. So it feels like it's been a visit to Olympus, and it has evolved over the last couple of months, where the experience become more and more surreal, I would almost say, and the connection becomes so deep and something we can enter into when we meet up. So we're not in a relationship. It's just we just have a good time. But every time we meet up now, it's like the intensity is increasing, and I'm struggling a bit to comprehend what is going on, and what is the experience in itself, what is the relationship, what is augmented or enhanced by Mother Aya, and what has perhaps just been opened but is accessible based on psychedelics and connection in that way.
Thank you for this question. Super interesting. So, okay, a few things. So when we take any medicine, what the medicine does is that it dissolves your ego. So you're not really present in this dimension anymore, right? It's like you go somewhere else. And when we go somewhere else, when we go higher, we're all one and we're all connected. So it can give you these insights of that sensation of oneness, right? We forget we're like at this level, we're all basically making love on the energy level. We're all united. So of course, when you take medicine, you can get those experiences. And especially if there's already someone you're connected and then you go into the journey together, your souls are in proximity. So they're gonna, they can travel together. They don't have to, but they can travel together and have these deep experiences together. Now, this is good and this can be also bad. What I mean by this. So imagine, okay, that you're watching porn with your partner. Well, two things can happen. Number one that can happen is that you get really turned on and you see some awesome things that they do there and okay, this is cool, let's try it. And basically porn becomes something that just spices up your sex life. It just adds to your sex life and it's great. And in other case, what can happen is that porn becomes more like an addiction because it offers such a high, right? That you would rather have that than just the normal lovemaking connection with your partner. So that happens with medicine as well, okay? Medicine can open you and be just an addition to your intimate relationship. But this can also become something like, wow, I can only get to those high states when I take something and when I go on a journey, and it's not available for you when you're in a full sober state. And I have known men, especially men, that they would really want to vape before lovemaking. They would want to take mushrooms before, it's like literally for men, the experience of lovemaking on anything, whether it's even medicine or just recreational drugs, it can be so profound. It can so open the heart that normally men, you guys have not really been taught how to do this much. So like I said, the medicine dissolves the ego. So you get to have the sensation of oneness, which actually for women, it's available in other ways. For a woman, it's easier to connect to nature, to another woman, to a child, to an animal. So we can have a bit more gateways in this physical reality to feel this. For men, not so much because of the society. So here, when you take the medicine or recreational drugs, you feel this. So I would say, that's what I'm saying, you have to be mindful, where is this taking you? Does it add to your experience? Or does it make you feel like, you know what, it's like, I'm getting a bit addicted to that? Because that is a very serious thing. These days, we see a lot of people literally addicted to medicine, but not integrating the work. And this is super serious. This is super serious, right? Now, there is another aspect. So you guys remember the movie with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, Speed, when they're in a bus? Okay, so for those of you who didn't watch this, wait, is there anyone who did not watch the movie? Okay, so it's like an action movie, right? No, okay, so they're on the bus, right? There's a bomb on the bus, which means that they cannot stop the bus, because if they go below a certain speed, the bus is going to blow up. So your typical action movie, right? And of course, there's guns and there's everything, and it's so stressful, and it's like, oh my God, we're going to die. And the last, basically, one of the last scenes of the movie is that, they somehow jump out of the bus and she lands on him, and they look into each other's eyes and they kiss. And that's so many years ago, right? I remember reading this article from a psychologist that was saying that this relationship will not last. Here is why. When we have these intense, exciting experiences with another person, our psyche makes an error of assuming that it's the person that is the source of those intense emotions, not the experience, but the person. Okay, it's the error of association. That's how the psyche works. So now, if you don't yet have a very strong connection with a woman and you go into this journey together, you're developing an idea that with her, you can feel oneness. And like I said, it dissolves the ego. Remember, at the level of the soul, you have this connection, or you can have this connection with practically anyone. But when you come down here, what you want to look at is, are you guys compatible? Like, are you guys actually good as a couple? Because having these very deep spiritual experiences together can mess up with us, can confuse us, because you're like, well, I don't get this. We have this very deep, intimate connection, but outside of this connection, maybe we don't really have so much in common and we don't seem to flow very well. So I would personally say, if you want to do this kind of experience with someone, first, just be careful if this is the person you want to do it with. Because one of the things, that makes it very difficult for people to leave someone who's not good for them is that sex is extremely deep. You feel like your soul is being fully witnessed, like no one else can offer this to you. But outside of sex, that deep sex, there isn't a lot of connection. And it's so hard for us to let that go. So I don't know specifically your situation. All I can tell you, like, this was just explanation of how the medicine impacts these type of dynamics. But what I would say is just be mindful that the medicine shows you the potential of intimacy and connection. It's not about the other person as much as it is really about just showing you what humans are capable of if they're open. Okay? But you can have that experience with other women as well. And so then just be mindful, which kind of a woman would you like to have those experiences with?
Great. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, let's take one or two more questions. Anyone else would like to share something?
Well, I have a question.
Hi.
My name is Vedansh. It's a pleasure to be joining this masterclass. I'm right now in Rishikesh, India.
Lovely. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for offering this masterclass. So I have this question. I want to, see, I just got into a relationship and it did not work out. And see, most of our differences arose because of different vocabularies. Because I never really heard of the terms like boundaries and giving space. And when these terms came to me, I did not really realize what these terms really mean. So my question is that, most of the time, especially when we meet our partners who are from different cultures all together, and we have so many differences, but we see that there is some sort of inner spark which connects us together, there is a high likelihood that there can be a lot of miscommunication. And in such situations, what can we do to improve that communication? And sometimes when there are such big barriers of culture and time and space, what can we really do to actually, sort of work out these differences and, rise beyond the language? What can we really do?
Yes, thank you for this question. I'll start by saying this. In any relationship, you do want to look at compatibility. And being from different cultures and having different languages is also simply a matter of compatibility. So if you guys have very different values, very different backgrounds, maybe different desires, maybe you look at things differently because of this. This may simply be the question, okay, we're not compatible. I have dated a Chinese man, an Indian man, a Vietnamese man, plus different other, Caucasian nationalities. And I, for example, discovered that as much as I really love Asians, once I got into a deeper relationship, the differences was something that I was like, I don't actually want to accommodate. So it's different if you're looking at a short-term relationship, but if you're looking something long-term, and if you potentially want to have a family together, like, you have to be mindful of this. It's like two people coming together with different religion, you know. It's I know it sounds maybe not so nice, but love does not conquer all. You know, it's like, to have a good relationship, you need love, you need passion, and you need compatibility. Okay, so this idea that if we really love each other, if there's connection, we can overcome all of those incompatibilities, it's not true. And these things especially come out later when there are children, because now it's about the fact that you want to raise your children differently, and it becomes a big issue. So when you want to date someone who's from a different culture or a different religion, anything like those really strong differences, you two, both of you, need to be extremely open-minded, and both of you need to be very curious and interested in the culture of the other person. And then you have to be extremely tolerant and open. Okay. Just to give you an example of like what was happening for me with my Chinese ex-partner, there are two things that I noticed that were really difficult for me. Actually, there were more, but in Chinese culture, and of course not for everyone, again, no black and white, but like, I am very affectionate. I'm very touchy. Like, touch is my love language. And for him, like, they wouldn't even embrace each other in their family. So I was realizing that if I was to have a child with him, my child would not receive physical affection from that side of the family, and most likely from his father as well. And I was like, okay, this is difficult for me. You know, when I need to touch, and when we're in public and I want to embrace him, he feels extreme, like, oh my God, don't do this. This is like so inappropriate. When for me, it's a natural expression of love. You know, it's like the same with India. I love India, but it will be really hard for me to live there because look how I dress. You know, I would be considered to be very slutty in India. So as much as I may love the place, I need to be mindful. Can I be comfortable there? And this is something we need to do individually. And I know that, like, you know, it's so like exotic, it's so interesting to date someone from a different culture, but it is more challenging. It is more difficult. You know, mostly I would say you have to be extremely tolerant that someone will have different values than you, and they may be opposite values. You know, now I don't know what specifically, like when you're talking about different people, different women, like where they were from, but like Indian culture, it's a very specific culture, right? There's a very specific understanding of what is a woman's role and how a relationship should be. So can you accommodate her differences, and can she accommodate yours? You know, it's like, I have a friend, she's Italian, and she was dating this Indian man, and they got married, but it didn't last very long because over time she just didn't feel good. She felt that for her it was too much to blend into that culture. But then you're going to have other people. I also have another friend who married a Muslim man from Malaysia, right? And she's Dutch, and she had no problem assimilating to the culture. But it's a very individual, and like I'd say, the most important thing, there needs to be curiosity of the different culture, and you need to be open-minded. But I would say, honestly, the most important thing is remember that love does not conquer all. And if it's so difficult because of your differences, like, just the question for you, do you really think that the relationship should be so hard? If you guys struggle because you have those different languages and because you mean different things, it's not just like English and Italian. Like, English is not my language. So if I date someone who's not Polish, we're always going to have a different language. But do we think in the same way? Do we perceive life and the world in the same way? Because if you don't, instead of going deeper into intimacy, you'll be continuously clashing to just try to understand them. You know, so that may not be what you wanted to hear, but that's really what I would recommend, is actually see how much are you aligned. Like, is there a chance to find a common ground? Because it may just be that it's not. Thank you for this question, because I know especially these days, this is probably relevant to a lot of us.
Thank you so much. I really love the answer. And one more question I have is, like, there is one of the participants recently asked about ayahuasca. And So as someone, who's been an observer and never experimented with ayahuasca and all these, psychedelics, I have had chance to try few, but not really ayahuasca. So, how important do you think are these experiences for us in evolving ourselves? And can we afford to not take them and not take any of the external stimulants and go within? So, my question is that like how relevant are all these experiences for our love life?
Mhm. You absolutely do not need any medicine for this. Absolutely don't. There's so many different modalities that help us to go deep into ourselves and understand who we are and work on our wounds and our patterns. And medicine work is just one of many. And there is definitely a huge pressure that if you want to be awake, if you want to be conscious, you need to sit with ayahuasca. And this is not true. Okay. Like, you come from India, you probably were taught by your grandma certain techniques to work with your energy and work with your chakras that we have not even ever heard of. Okay, so first of all, the whole world has a series of different tools and we can use all of them. And I strongly believe that each one of us has natural alignment in which techniques will work for them. And for some of us, it's medicine. I've done medicine and it's not my path. It literally has not changed my life. I did quite a few things, did not change my life. But Tantra did, Theta healing did. So I'm like, basically, what you want to do is find the modality that works for you. And these days, there's so much talk about the medicine. And I have to say that a lot of people who do medicine, they're just getting high, but they kind of call it unconscious. It's the same thing like, when you see people like eating all those raw vegan desserts and they say, oh, but this is healthy. It's like, no, it's not. It's still sugar. You're just replacing a very unhealthy cake with a little more healthy cake, but you're still eating sugar. So a lot of people who do medicine work, it's people who still do recreational drugs, but they just feel a bit better because it's medicine. So please don't ever feel that you have to do this path. I would say honestly for you, especially if you're in Rishikesh, you have literally, you're walking on the land that has wisdom that so many of us don't even have access to. Like see if that is something that that can impact you. Like, I don't think you may need, and to be honest, just like tuning into your energy, I probably would tell you don't do medicine. I think you're a very gentle, loving, very heart-centered person, and I think the medicine can actually like scare you unnecessarily. And also Andrew's asking Tantra and Theta healing. I'm going to write this down for you guys if you're interested. Theta healing. It's a modality that works on your beliefs. So Loz, I wanted to ask you, can I share with you something before we go? Do you guys have a few more minutes for me? Is that okay?
Of course. Yes.
Thank you. So I need to actually share my screen for this one. So just give me a second, because usually on Macs, I don't know. Okay, give me a second. Let's see if I can do this. Macs are usually a bit complicated in this case. Okay, doesn't seem like I can do this. I'm just going to speak about this. I wanted to show you some slides, but I wanted to tell you something. So there is a certain magic in you as a man, in your masculine energy, coming together with the feminine and learning about the feminine. Like, if you think about this, like, so much of you is impacted by the feminine. So much of you is linked to women. They are just a part of your life, right? You want them, you're pulled towards them. And to be honest, they control quite a lot of your life decisions. So I wanted to tell you about the program that I have that is starting this Thursday, and it's called The Path of the Jaguar. Now, what it is a journey for you. So this is not about women, this is about you, but it is held by the feminine, by me. Now, what this path is all about, and this is what I'm super passionate about. Like I said, I've been working with men for many years, and I love this. And what I see is the society that has eliminated a certain expression of the masculine energy. It has eliminated the warrior, the animal, and the killer. But if you think about this, and you may have experienced moments in your life when you would just like long to like take a spear and just go hunting, right? Or fight. Like this is in men, this is part of the journey of understanding of what kind of a man you are. And that has been taken away because we live in times, you know, with the Me Too movement where women are scared. If man is too animalistic, we're terrified, we blame you, we shame you. So men have collectively suppressed that expression. But as long as this is suppressed, you're not actually stepping fully into your true power as a man. Now, look at it. In the past, what was happening? A man would go to war, a knight would go to the battle, right? It's the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate test. And then you come back as a man. Like coming back as a man means that you know that if needed, you can take the sword and you can fight, that you have what it takes to protect your tribe, protect yourself, and protect your family. And that has been taken away from men because it's been labeled, this is unsafe. You're not conscious, right? You're the animal, you're an asshole. There's so much shame around this. But as a man, you need this. And you can explore it in different ways. But it's a special gift to explore this, having the feminine energy guide you. Because I'm pretty sure you guys have all experienced this, that when there is the presence of the feminine that you feel very attracted to, it's like somehow you're capable of more. The right woman has the ability to bring the best in you. You're stronger, you're more committed. It's like you're able to do things that without her presence, you just don't have access to. And so that's what this program is about. So the Path of the Jaguar, it's a live online course, 6 weeks long, and every single week you have a mission. So it's a proper hero's journey. It's like if you guys feel the call for adventure, this is what it is. And every single week, we're going to go into a certain mission and explore different aspects. And the feminine and your relationship to the feminine is very important on this path. But it's not the enemy and it's not a princess that it's hard to get. She's your team. She's your supporter. So what we're going to do is in week 1, we're going to dive into this whole concept of the masculine and feminine polarity, because I'm sure you've heard about this. But like I said, even when I go to read things by David Deida, who's like one of the kings of these teachings, there's so much misunderstanding around what it means. And then what exactly does it mean for a modern man? You know, not someone who lives in an ashram or leaves all the world, you know, physical world and goes and meditates in the cave. Like, what does it mean for you as a man who's ambitious and who also has emotions? Like, you know, in the world that tells you be emotional, be more in tune with your feminine. Like, what is this polarity for you? Okay, so this is the first mission. That's what we're going to explore together. Now, the second one is so important, my loves. This is when we're going to look at your relationship to the feminine and look at the wounds towards her. And mostly this is about the mother-son wound. Unfortunately, now this is a bigger story, but during the war, what happened is that a lot of men died. So lots of boys were raised without a father. At the same time, when we look at the 60s and 70s, what happened is that women had almost no rights. So women were getting even with their husbands, but by raising boys in a way that was emasculating. So there's a lot of history actually that impacted the relationship between boys and their mothers. What does it mean? You may hate your mother because she was smothering you and not giving you space. You may look at your mother as God, that you're not able to say no to her, right? That whatever she says, it's sacred. You may still try to win her approval. And that relationship, because it's not healthy in most cases, is impacting your ability to relate to women right now as an adult. So in your second mission, in the second week, we're looking at these dynamics and we're really going in depth to understand what is your specific dynamic so we can finally heal this and be able to build relationship with women in a way that is not dependent on the wounding and the old story. And then we're going to go into mission number 3, and we're going to go deeper into the topic that we have been discussing today. So this is a bit like a sneak peek for you guys, how I hold space, how I teach, and what is this whole topic about understanding women. Because in mission 3, you're diving deeper into understanding this pattern of her movements and why does she seem so chaotic and illogical and hysterical. Okay. And I'm going to give you specific tools to deal with this. Now, I'll give you one tip already now. Did you guys know that hysteria was the first officially recorded or like defined mental illness? So, you know, like someone being hysterical, and you know what it was? It was sexually frustrated women. Because the woman was not properly made love to, she like sexual energy, when it's not moved, it turns into frustration. And so women were becoming hysterical because men didn't know how to make love to them. So what doctors would actually do, doctors would finger the women, and that was the treatment to treat hysteria. Okay. So there's just an insight. How important is sexuality for women to be mentally balanced and then show up correctly in the relationship? So this is just an insight, and that's also what we're going to talk about. There'll be a lot of discussion around sexuality, sexuality of women as well, and your own. So in mission number 4, we're actually going to dive into different expression of sexuality. So there is the dark sexuality and light sexuality. Okay, and both of them are sacred, both of them are tantric. But you're going to understand why is it that with some women, you just click sexually, like there is this compatibility, and with others, there isn't. And you may really love her and everything may be great, but in bed, it just doesn't flow. And then it flows with other women, but you just have nothing else in common. It's just like, what is it? Well, because when we talk about compatibility, you got to be compatible in your type of sexuality. And there's these 2 primary ways of expressing sexuality. And then there's subcategories in these. So we're going to speak about this so you can understand what is your type. And you also learn how to recognize the type of your partner. And then if you are not naturally compatible, how to create this compatibility. Then in mission 5, we're going to talk about tantric sexuality. So we're going to talk about sexual energy, sex, energy, orgasm. So this when you go beyond the physical experience, because, you know, when we talk these days about male sexuality as, you know, going fast, ejaculating, and then resting, it's so disrespectful to what your body is capable of. Like you guys can experience so much more. You guys can have full body orgasm and multiple orgasms. And I know Johan had to go, but the things that he was talking about, those experiences after ayahuasca, this is available to you without any medicine. But we just don't understand what sexuality is. So that's what we're exploring in mission 5. And then finally in mission 6, we're talking about the full body domination through sexual mastery. So this is when you will be exploring the concept of non-ejaculation and full body orgasm. And I'll be teaching you specific techniques on how to move your sexual energy through the body so you can control and decide when or if you want to ejaculate, and then move this energy through the body so you can have your first full body orgasm. So these are these 6 missions, and it's going to be like, you know, each session is going to be close to 2 hours. Like I said, even now we're already almost at 2 hours. So anytime I try to focus on 1 hour, like you guys gonna get extra information. But this is a combination of teaching and also practices. Like we're gonna do embodiment, you know, on the call. And like I was leading this session last month, and like I had 20 men, and we were like roaring and like, you know, dancing with the drums together, and the energy is incredible because you really feel other men. Like at some point, half of the men took their shirts off, and it was like just embodying this animal. And this is the kind of experiences we'll be doing as well, you know. So this is something like I'm just feeling so excited about. Like I've never done this type of training before because I mostly work with VIP clients one-on-one, but I just feel like this really wants to be created. So I'm doing it this time. I will probably not repeat this. I'll be honest. This is not like a sales trick or anything. It's just, I honestly work one-on-one with people. Like I have premium clients. I charge a few $1,000s if someone wants to work with me. And this is just a zone where I thrive. That was an inspiration that wanted to be created. So I decided to answer the call, which is also this training. If you feel the call, my invitation is for you to answer this. So like I said, it's starting on Thursday, so July 22nd. And it's these 6 sessions together. It is live online. As always, you're going to get access to all of the recordings. And the price for this is $667. And there's also a special VIP offer if you also want to work with me one-on-one. So if you want to learn more about this, because I cannot show you the slides, let me just message you the link here in the chat. Okay. And this is magdak.com/jaguar. I'm also going to email you the link. I will also, okay, so I'll send you the link to the replay of this session. If you guys want to go through it again, I'm going to send you this link and some more information about this program. But if you want to join, you guys have last few days to have a look at everything, see what it's like, see if you feel called to embark on this journey. You know, it's like, you know best if this is the time, if this is right, if you feel comfortable with me. But if you do, it would be my absolute pleasure to welcome you into this container and guide you. So now, my love, this is all from me. If you have, again, any more questions, I'm available to stay if you guys want to say anything, if you want to share anything, or if you want to ask anything. Jeremy, I was saying, did you want to say goodbye because you had to go, or was it, well, did you want to maybe say something before?
Yeah, I have one last question.
Okay, just a second, we'll get back to you, okay?
Sure.
Oh, actually, I had nothing. I just want to say thanks. It's been really great.
Thank you so much for being here. Who had the question?
Yeah, me. I just wanted to understand more about the embodiment work as to what it is. Can you just briefly give an idea of what an embodiment work is?
Embodiment, yes. So right now, what we've done, we did the talking, right? Which is also a beautiful thing when we get to learn things. Embodiment is when you engage your body. So any type of breath work and movement and sounding, right? So anytime we use the body, this is called the embodiment practices. So for example, I can do the shaking, like shaking has a specific impact on our energy body. So this is a part of the embodiment. The thing I was explaining that we did with the men in the other class was like this, like, and letting all of this animal out. That's the embodiment. Okay, so it's engaging the body, not the mind, but engaging the body through movement, sound, and breath.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions, love, or if anyone still would like to share anything? Okay, so my loves, you have received emails from me regarding this masterclass. So if you need anything, you can always email me. Just reply to any of those emails. And I am going to send you an email with the link to the recording and this program. So just if you don't have my email, you can reply to that one. So you can stay in touch. You can find me on Instagram or YouTube and just connect with me through any of the channels. And again, if there's more questions coming up after this training, you're more than welcome to just reach out to me. Any questions regarding the program, again, I am here. I can speak to you more, explain anything else. But do go to the link and just see what it's all about. And again, if you do feel the call, it will be my honor to welcome you inside. And thank you so much for taking your time to be here. I really appreciate it, for like trusting me to share this information. And once again, so let me just do a little summary of the 5 things that we discussed, okay? Just so we remember this. So the first one was encourage her to talk. Number 2, reconfirm that you love her. Number 3, ask her about her feelings rather than her thoughts on something. Number 4, remember that sex is a very vulnerable place for her. And number 5, understand that she moves in cycles. Okay, so take these details with you, enjoy this, use it to create the most beautiful relationships with women. So my loves, thank you so much. And I set you free. Bye, loves. Bye-bye.